Hi there, loyal airmen. This is Captain Ron Fortier of the Airship 27. Welcome you to another episode of the Airship 27 podcast. This is episode 29, and of course, joining me as ever is my chief engineer, Rob Davis. How you doing, Rob?
Good. And as always, it's good to be here and talking to our fans again. But before we get into the nitty-gritty of the show here, we always have to read this at the beginning. And here we go. We are proud members of the Comics Podcast Network. You can find every episode of the Airship 27 podcast on comicspodcast.com each month. You can also find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Comic Frontline, YouTube, and of course, Zone4Podcast.com.
And there you go. Once again, we're everywhere.
Commercial out of the way. Yes.
If anybody, speaking like that, there's this thing going on. I don't know if you're that familiar with all these podcasts, Rob, but since we are a member of the Zone 4 podcast family, I'm just throwing this out there to folks who listen to the show, that if any of you would ever like to donate to the show, sponsorship of any kind whatsoever, and by that I mean legal sponsorship.
Well,
okay? If you have a book that you'd like us to promote, or this or that, a product, that you've come up, drop us a line. We'll put you in touch with the head of Zone 4, Sparky Brandt himself. We're always looking for sponsors. It helps defray the cost of keeping this show on the air and the others that Zone 4 does. So by all means, again, if you have a product that you'd like us to shout out on an episode in the future, or like I said, a book, a comic book you've produced, get a hold of us and we'll see if we can work out a nice little commercial for you.
If it's something that we can link to online, we can put it in the show notes, and so we can
exactly
talk it up on the show, and then there'll be a link for whatever it is. They can either buy it or look at it or whatever it is.
Yeah, some of our colleagues in the past have done that, Rob. Tommy Hancock, for a while, ran a podcast called Pulp, and very often sold commercial time to some of our colleagues who'd had new books published and wanted to get the word out about their book. So, it's a cool avenue. Like I said, it helps defray some of the internet cost that Brandt has to keep the show going.
Because you have to have a website, you have to have a domain, and that stuff all costs money. Definitely.
It sure does. There are no free lunches, as I learned in economics class. Oh, man. All right. Hey, look, we're in the middle of summer here. You get pouring rain now where you live. I've got temperatures at 100 degrees. We're into it now, big time. And as ever, the old airship continues to fly. So let's talk about some of the new things that we've released. I'll let you take the first one, buddy.
Okay. What's new and available? Since our last episode, we've released 2 new titles and have 2 other almost ready to go to press. And the first one that Ron has handed off to me is Slits, and that's spelled SSLITS, and it's by our very own marketing manager, Michael Vance. Slits is a science fiction thriller about a first contact with a strange alien being who crash lands on Earth back in the early 1950s and then forms a relationship with a woman over the course of the next few decades. It is fast-moving and explores various themes of good and evil and the guises in which they appear. The interior illustrations are by our old pal Gary Cato, and the cover is by the ever-amazing Ted Hammond of Canada. This one is particularly creepy in its own beautiful way. Yeah, no one writes creepy like Michael Vance.
No, for sure. And it's a really good, well-thought-out, intelligent science fiction novel. And he really pushes the envelopes because, being brought up, you and I both, in that generation of Star Trek, I should say, okay? There's a lot about Star Trek that, even though it was good science fiction and explored a lot of current cultural themes, it also pretty much stayed, I think, within the parameters of most of the aliens they met, Rob, were pretty much humanoid. You know what I'm saying? It was that thing where it's our physical galaxy, so they'd have to look a little bit like us to a degree.
Well, and part of that was the fact that they had, you can't hire an insect to play an alien on television.
Right?
How do you do that?
Yeah, exactly.
Today you can do it with CGI, but not then.
Yeah, we end up with a generation, Rob, of people, again, with that already preconceived notion that, whatever alien life form is out there would have some semblance of familiarity.
Yeah, but it wouldn't have to.
Right, but not necessarily the truth. The science could tell us, all right? We could encounter water creatures. We can encounter, creatures made up of gas instead of having a physical, all those kind of things.
Yep.
And that's one of the things that Michael explores in Slits. And I'm not going to give away any more of that, only to say that I found it while reading and editing it a riveting novel, and I really congratulate him on pushing that boundary out there a little bit. It's a phenomenal book, and I really hope people give it a shot. All right, so then, at the same time that we were talking about getting Slits out, we were also producing another book that's taken a while to get to the finish line. And that's after several years of production. We finally got out the Ruby Files Volume 2. Now, this is the second anthology featuring New York City private eye Rick Ruby, as invented by our friends Bobby Nash and Sean Taylor. Now, each has a new story in this collection, and I'm joined by writers Alan J. Porter and your own very own Captain Ron here. Interiors for the book were by Nick Polico, and Mark Wheatley was extremely gracious to come back and do the cover. Mark had done the cover for book 1 and promised, should we ever get the series finished, he would do a second one as well. So he kept his word. And this despite the fact that he and his wife had just survived a really bad automobile accident the week before, when she was left with a broken nose and Mark banged up his drawing arm. But somehow he still persisted and produced a truly beautiful and stunning cover. That's what I call going above and beyond, Rob. So thanks, Mark, Nick, and everyone else involved with the book. If you like private eye adventure stories, please check this out. And, Volume 1 as well. But just to, people to understand here, I was so taken with the character that Bobby and Sean invented and brought to Airship 27 and said, here's the 1930s private eye. Would you like to run with this and publish it? After we did the first volume, and I think you'll recall, also involved with the first volume was our old friends Bill Maynard and Andrew Salmon.
Right.
And the interior illustration on Volume 1 was Rob Moran.
Right, yeah.
And that was such a beautiful volume that I knew as an editor they'd raised the bar extremely high, and we were going to need to really, work our little butts off to match that kind of quality. And we did, with Polico doing the interiors, and, of course, Mark coming back with the cover. But there was also this personal attraction to me, Rob. I like the character so much that I pretty much said to myself, if we can get a second volume done, I want in. And so it was a blast for me to write a Rick Ruby story and to get the volume out. And I want to give people a little heads up, Rob. In another 2 weeks, myself and Bobby and Sean and Alan Porter, all four of us, are going to be guests on Art Sippo's own podcast, Arts Review.
Right, okay.
Promoting Ruby Files Volume 2. So there you go. Hey, if you want to know more about the character, go out and pick up a copy of the book or the Kindle, and you'll be all ready for when we do our guest spot on Art Show.
Right, yeah.
And as ever, both Slits and Ruby Files are available at Amazon in paperback and on Kindle, both of them. So again, we appreciate your support. I teased Bobby. It took almost 3 years to get the second volume out, but I honestly love this character, Rob, and I'm really hoping that the sales warrant it, that they're that good, because I'd love nothing better than to keep the series going and eventually start putting together a volume 3.
Well, we've gotten at conventions, we've gotten people over the last couple of years asking us when the next one would be out, and it was always, well, it's in the works, it's in the works. Well, now it's gone beyond the works. It's actually published and out there. And again, as always, the links are at airship27hangar.com if anybody wants to check out where it is on Amazon, either the Kindle or the paperback. Plus, in our as always, our PDFs that we sell.
Right.
For those folks who don't really care for Kindle or whatever. And they're, as usual, we're still selling those for $3. So, yeah, that's probably the least expensive. Just the least expensive way to get any of our books is in the PDF format. So, it's a reduced size, as far as file size, copy of pretty much what is in the print book, and by page. The Kindle version, of course, it changes with the settings that you put into the Kindle. But the actual PDF is just like the book. It has page after page after page. But anyway, that's the least expensive way, and plug out of the way.
No, if nothing else, I hope it draws some people to look at our website, Ron.
Right.
And really, if you haven't visited the website on a regular basis and haven't been there in a few months, please stop by, because believe me, it continues to grow, doesn't it? I'm thinking of sometime in the next year or so, maybe thinking of a different way to do it, because right now I've got all the books are essentially on one very long page that scrolls down, with the most recent books at the top. If it's a series of books, then wherever that first one popped into the lineup, that's where every book after that will come. So, say Sergeant Janus is at a certain point in there. If a new Sergeant Janus book pops up, then I put it in the lineup right just above the previous book. Right. But any new series goes right to the very top of the page. Well, that page is getting pretty long right now. So I'm trying to think through a different way to set that up. I may go look at some other websites and see how they do it, and see if I can steal some ideas from somewhere. If anybody has any ideas that they want to pass on to me about how the website should be laid out, that's fine too. You can email me, and I believe our email links are in the show notes if I recall correctly. Yes, yeah.
They're also at the website for that matter.
Yep.
So.
Okay.
But I'm looking at sometime in the next year or so. But that'll be, unfortunately, that's a ton of work. So I keep pushing it back and pushing it back. But at some point, I think I'm going to have to lay it out a little differently. But that's for the future.
All right. Okay. Now, speaking of the future, you can have the next agenda, buddy.
Okay. All right. Let's see what's coming up next. Last time we mentioned The Eye of Kwang-Chi by Fred Adams Jr. The book is complete, and as of this broadcast, it is being proofread. Likewise, Bass Reeves' Frontier Marshal Volume 2, which features stories by Milton Davis, Mel Odom, Michael Black, and Derek Ferguson. Hopefully both will be available within the next few weeks. So keep an eye out on our various Facebook pages and the website for news of their releases.
Right. Both are excellent books, and it's pretty much a throw of the dice, right, Rob? Which is going to be first? Which is going to be second?
I think Kwang-Chi is probably, it may pop up first, but they may come in about the same time. So it'll be just a matter of me spacing them out a little bit. I don't like to issue 2 books in 1 week. I like to push. I like to put one week and then the other one the next week. That's just a little. I think that's a little too much for.
It cuts into the promotion that we like to give each of our titles.
Right. Yeah. Now, Eye of Kwang-Chi. Excuse me. Bass Reeves is illustrated by yours truly. Just putting another plug for myself in there.
No, by all means, and the Eye of Kwang-Chi's art, all the art on the Eye is from Morgan Fitzsimmons. She did all the interiors, and she did the cover.
Right.
And with Bass Reeves, we were lucky once again to get the Hungarian illustrator, Marco Torini, to do a really absolutely stunning cover.
Yeah. Kick butt cover,
I'm very proud of the first book we did, and equally so with this one. And without repeating what we've said a lot of times in the past, but people who aren't familiar with who Bass Reeves is, he's an actual historical lawman, all right? The anthologies that we produce are fictionalized stories, but the truth is his actual stories are even more fantastic. So do yourself a favor, go Google him up, go check out who he is, and then if you're that intrigued, hopefully, go check out Bass Reeves Volume 1, still available at Amazon, and get ready for Volume 2, coming your way again, as we said, hopefully in a couple of weeks.
Yep. Fingers crossed. Yep.
Yeah. All right. And you know what? I mean, these are just the two tip of the icebergs, if you will, because coming down the road, at present, there is no one title leading that pack after Huang Chi and Bass Reeves. But among those that we'll be working on and are just getting into productions are basically Rob's going to be starting shortly, maybe after we come back from Pulp Fest, with doing the illustrations to our third Captain Action novel, as written by Jim Beard, who did the previous two, and Jim is joined this time by veteran new pulp writer and a good friend of ours, Barry Reese. Phenomenal book. I'm really excited about getting that out. Artist Richard John is currently drawing the illustrations for our second Moonman anthology, which has been a long time in coming. Apologies to the four writers who turned in some excellent stories. But having Richard on board has been a pure joy. He's a very talented artist, and we're excited to have him on board. And the secret with this is that for well over a year now, if not longer, we've actually had a Mike Files Moonman painting in our files sequestered away. So once this book comes to fruition, as far as the inside is completed, we're going to be able to use that Mike Files Moonman cover, which he was so gracious enough to let us have. And then at the same time that we're talking about all this, Chris Kohler, the artist who this year won the Pulp Factory Award for Best Interior Illustrations, is in fact doing interior illustrations for a new Weird Western that we're going to be publishing called The Silver Riders by writer Greg Hatcher. And then, up in Canada again, artist Art Cooper is doing illustrations for the next installment of Fred Adams' own Weird Western series, Six Gun Terrors. While artist Javier Lugo does interiors for Fred's new C.O. Jones mystery novel. And then we go back to Canada, Rob, where Dominic Chenier works on the illustrations for Wayne Carey's full-length Alan Quatermain novel. So, as all our loyal airmen can easily see, we've tons of books working their way down the line, as we do not impose deadlines on any of our writers. We honestly don't know which books will reach the finish line first. But this was just a very small sampling of what we got going on right now.
Bunch of stuff coming down the pike, yep. I was looking at... Ron sends out a letter to all the creators who work with us, or artists and writers, listing what's out there and what's being worked on, so that they can, if somebody's interested in writing a storyboard or doing the illustrations for something, they can jump in and say, yeah, I'd like to help you finish this book by adding another story to it. And the sucker was huge. It had several. It had quite a few pages to it. But I'm also thinking of setting up a system for myself so that I can keep better track of the books. Because there are times when Ron will send me art and I'll go, well, what's this for? Right. So I would like, I'd like to have. I'm looking at setting up a little card system so I can go. Each book has its own card, and then I can list on there who the artist is, where we are in it, and then every time something comes up for that book, I can make another note on that card. I was looking for maybe an app or a program that would do that, and I couldn't find anything that satisfied me. So I'm going to go back to the old-fashioned index cards and go that way, I think. But
okay.
We'll see if it works or not. Because I've tried several different things
under
to
the
try.
label notes to oneself, right?
Right, exactly, so that I know what the heck's going on. Because you'll tell me something, and it'll scroll down on my you'll email me something, and it'll scroll down on my email, and I'll go, what did he tell me 3 weeks ago about this book? So if I start writing it down, I'll go, okay, well, he told me, that's what he said about that book at that time. So, yeah, I'm hoping I'm getting more organized, but, I'm 63 years old. I'll be 63 in August. So it's kind of hard to teach an old dog new tricks, but we'll see if I can roll over and do this right.
Rob, once we started Airship 27 and all this other stuff started, happening, because we suddenly weren't just doing projects, our own projects or working together, whatever. We had all these other people involved with us, right? Over the years, and I telling the truth here, it got to the point where myself, you can't just keep trusting your memory because you have way too many things going on. I literally do have a file, Rob, called Ron's Things to Do, and I keep it. What I do is, like, at least once a week, if not twice, I'll go back to it and see what I've done or not done. And whenever some new project comes along, like somebody sends me a new manuscript or short story to read, I immediately, once I've logged it into my files, Rob, go to that particular file and jot it down.
Right.
Because I know if I don't do that, 6 months will go by and somebody will write and say, well, what'd you think of my story? And I'm like, oh my God, I forgot all about it,
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
That's where I am now. There's so much coming down the pike that I just can't keep track of it. I've been trusting the email, to help me remember stuff, and it's overwhelming now. So I'm going to have to, like I said, I'm going to try the old-fashioned index card and see if that works. I'm hoping. We'll see. I don't know.
Again, just to add the epilogue to that little segment about all these various artists and projects we have. Just this afternoon, one of our new regulars from Massachusetts, Robert Ritchie, dropped me a quick email and said, I'm looking through the latest update newsletter you sent, Ron, and I'd like to write an aviation story for Volume 2 of Aviation Aces.
There you go.
Log me in. So I immediately did that. I went and logged him in, and, hopefully I'll be seeing his story come in a little while. But in the meantime, Aviation Aces Volume 1 isn't out, and we're working on that. So sometimes it becomes an avalanche. It comes at us faster than we can outrun it.
That's the point. Yeah. So it's at the point where I can't trust the email or whatever other attempts I've made. I'm thinking this one's actually having a physical box right here next to the computer with those cards in it, and maybe have it right there. It might help me. Well, we'll see. I'm going to give it a shot. And anyway,
all right.
Next.
Yeah. So the next thing on our list, buddy, I'm going to let you take, and it's pretty exciting.
Oh well, yes. Pittsburgh, here we come. For the first time ever, Pulp Fest will be held in Pittsburgh this year, and Airship 27 will be there, as always. The actual con runs from July 27th to the 29th. While I do my usual handling of our table setups and displays, Ron has been a little extra busy this year with other promotional events to support the show. On Thursday evening at 10:10 p.m., way past his bedtime, Ron will do a 10-minute reading from his Domino Lady story, Claws of the Cat, in the main panel hall just prior to a presentation on the Domino Lady. With the help of writer Fred Adams, he helped organize 2 store signings in Pittsburgh the weekend of the convention. On Friday night, New Pulp writers Fred Adams, Tommy Hancock, Jim Beard, and Wayne Carey will be appearing at a Barnes & Noble in a city shopping mall from 7 to 9 p.m. On Saturday morning, Ted White, Fred Adams Jr., Barbara Doran, and John Simcoe will be at the popular bookstore Rickert and Beagles from 10 a.m. to noon. Both teams of writers will be handing out flyers advertising the convention during their signings. Then, as always, come Saturday afternoon, Ron will host his popular new pulp panel, and joining him for the very first time on the roster will be Fred Adams Jr., Charles Milhouse, John C. Bruning, Wayne Carey, and Michael Maynard. With this panel of talented new pulp writers, it should be a fast and lively hour discussion. And that's not even talking about having all that fun on the floor at Pulp Fest itself.
Right. That's
that's the added stuff.
And ancillary, orbiting promotional things.
Right.
Right. Because, we have mentioned in the past on previous episodes that once the committee had chosen Pittsburgh as their new destination for the show after, several years in Columbus, you and I think everybody involved who supports the show, who attends it every year, realized that a little bit of extra promotion was going to be required to make our presence known in a new city.
Right.
And, kudos to Mike Chomko and Jack Cullors and the other committee members of Pulp Fest. They've been going out. They've been canvassing the community with different ads and paper ads in local journals and whatever. And so, Fred Adams, who lives near Pittsburgh, Rob, and has done several signings at different stores there, came up with this idea of maybe are getting some of our new pulp writer colleagues to help with doing store signings. And so in dealing with Mike Chomko and talking about this, all of us agreed it was a great idea. I got together, I got some artists to recruit, which you just named off, all of them really, really talented representatives of new pulp. And so, like we're saying, I mean, it's crazy, but there's going to be something going on, at least involving you and me, my friend, every day of the show. Not even considering how wild the show itself is on the main floor, with all the vendors and everything they sell and promote and whatever. And so I'm really hoping a lot of people listen to this podcast, and those who live anywhere within 100 miles of Pittsburgh and have that particular weekend available should really give a serious thought to coming down. I have to tell you a story like that, Robert, you'll get a kick out of it because it goes along with this. One of our Facebook friends is a gentleman named Jack Maxwell. And so what happens is, I think just a couple of weeks ago, I get a message from him on Facebook in which he says he wanted to know if he could have my mailing address, and he sent me a copy of the first Green Hornet comic book that I had written for Now Comics with the Jim Steranko cover on it, and a copy of Brother Bones, the Undead Avenger, and with a return address envelope, would I be willing to autograph both those items, stick them back in the mailed envelope, and mail them back to him? So I've done this many times in the past, and I've replied, and I said, sure, Jack. I said, I'd be only too glad to. Just be sure to go to the post office and weigh the envelope so that, you have, the proper amount for me to send it back to you once I've done the autographs. And so he writes back, thank you. And he says, he says, you ever going to do any East Coast shows? Now, this is what he says, right? So I wrote back and I said, well, I said, Rob and I, because of the way we do our operations and the way it becomes economically feasible, is because, we're so lucky that you, Rob, live almost in the middle of America. And so there's this radius of a day or two that you can travel to and bring our inventory. All right? I mean, a lot of our colleagues fly, thousands of miles to go to shows, and they have to bring their inventory on planes with, the freight costs and everything else on top of paying for tables, hotel rooms, or whatever. Whereas your ability to drive us our inventory to the shows has been a lifesaver for us and made it possible for us to attend a lot of these mid-American cons. But as we've talked, once you start pushing out a little too further east, it becomes economically unfeasible for us.
Yeah,
so
I think the outer edges we went to Akron, and I thought that was just right on the edge.
Right.
And Pittsburgh really falls on just outside that big circle that I've drawn. But this is Pulp Fest.
We're going to try it once, right?
Yeah.
And so here's what I says to Jack. I said, Jack, after giving him that Reader's Digest with that little explanation on inventory and economics, I said, well, Jack, I says, Pulp Fest this year is in Pittsburgh. And I said, Rob and I are going. We're going to do the first year of Pittsburgh to see how it goes. And I says, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Pittsburgh on the East Coast?
Close, yeah.
I'm joking with him, all right? He gets back. True story now, Rob. He gets back to me and goes, well, I live in Philadelphia. He goes, I think I'll come down and see you there. And I went, yeah, and bring the books. You won't have to mail. So there you go, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
so that's why I relate the story. Okay, if you live anywhere within 100-mile circle of area of Pittsburgh, all right, and it's not, it's a day trip. Please come on down and come to a pulp show. Trust me, it's not like any other show you've been to. It's not. It hasn't gone the route of a lot of the comic book shows that have become mass media cultural events where you get some comics, but it's this star or that Hollywood guy or girl or whatever. Pulps are pretty much still cued to what they're about, which is pulp fandom and the history of the subject matter. So, again, we urge you, please check it out. We really hope, fingers crossed, buddy, that Pittsburgh is a huge success. And if it is, then it'll make it, really feasible for us.
Well, we've cut expenses to the bone.
Yes, we have. We won't get into all that. But
we've cut expenses to the bone. We're going to bring books. I'm going to drive, but we've cut expenses to the bone. But we're going to give this thing a shot. It's a whole new. The reason I really wanted to try it was it's a whole new city for us. This could be a whole new audience for us to reach, and to get involved in new pulp, the kind of new pulp that we do. So I want to give it a shot. I want to give it a shot.
Yep, yeah, that's the hope. Hopefully, the folks at Pulp Fest, again, will have done their promotional job, and we're going to stay positive. We're going to head out and hopefully have some good weather, and hopefully things like the bookstore signings that we're talking about will attract a lot of attention and get people to come to the show and check it out. So we will keep you all posted, believe me, because by the time we do our next show, it'll be after the con.
Yeah, a week or two afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah, we will be giving you our post-con report.
Fingers crossed. Yes, I think we're going to do gangbusters, but I'm trying to stay positive like that. I think we'll do really, really well with this show. Fingers crossed, though.
Yep. Okay. All right. Well, hey, we've come to a regular part of the show, but you know what, Rob? In the last couple of days, when I wrote the agenda, we hadn't received a certain package of books yet, so I want to jump in.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'd almost forgotten about that.
Yeah. Which is basically, in past episodes, Rob and I have told you the fact that he and I did a very special project for Joe Gentile and Moonstone Books, a novella called The Faces of Fear, and I wrote it, and Rob did 10 amazing pencil illustrations for it. A unique style of illustrating, unlike what we normally do at Airship 27. He and Joe Gentile had talked. Rob had brought his portfolio, as he usually does, to the cons, and it showed Joe in Chicago a couple of years ago some of his work. Joe was very impressed with a lot of Rob's detailed pencil work and asked if he could do illustrations like that could be reproduced. So the long and short of it was, between the three of us, we decided we were going to try this as a project where I'd write this novella, and it basically features a team up between the Black Bat and the Purple Scar. Rob would then do these illustrations. They recently published it maybe a month ago.
Yeah.
In two formats. They published a soft cover edition, which features a really stunning cover by a South American artist named Dennis Calero. And then Joe then came back to Rob and asked Rob to give him a second cover because they actually did a hardcover edition of this novella. So both of us, we were talking before the show, both of us got our comp copies in the mail in the last few days. And Rob, I got to tell you, I opened up my box and I took out the books, and Valerie, my wife, happened to walk by the office and said, "Ooh, you got some goodies." And she walked in, and when she saw the cover, she was really taken, Rob. She, this is the unbiased, this isn't me or you. She thinks it's a really, really gorgeous package.
Yeah, I'm holding it in my hand as you speak here. I mean, if that's the hardcover I'm looking at now with my cover on it, and yeah, I don't care how many times this happens. Whenever you get a new book printed and you hold it in your hands, you go, "Wow, cool."
Yeah.
So yeah,
very much.
Yeah. So yeah, Joe did a really nice job putting this together. When he told he was going to do a hardcover, I thought it was going to the actual cover was going to be a slip cover, paper cover, but it's printed on the actual hardcover.
Right. Oh yeah.
Which is that's cool.
Yeah. And we've already gotten because I immediately took pictures of mine and posted it up on my Facebook page yesterday to show people we'd gotten them in and get them excited to go to Moonstone Books and buy. Because as of right now, that's the only place where people can buy a copy of Faces of Fear. And that's at the Moonstone's own book website online. And note, Rob, I've already sent Brant the links to that, so they will be in the show notes.
Cool, okay.
Including a picture of the soft cover, so if anybody's interested. And when I posted the picture of the books, a voice actor named Mark Bernard saw them and really, really liked both covers, and especially enjoyed yours, which is, if you want, you can explain the composition to our listeners.
Well, I think, if I recall correctly, this was your idea. The cover was your idea, but what it is since it's a crossover between Black Bat and the Purple Scar, it's the Purple Scar standing there holding a gun in his hand, looking over his shoulder, and behind him is the shadow of the Black Bat on this brick wall. So, that's essentially the breakdown of the cover. But and of course that bright brick red color and that Purple Scar mask, that really pops, especially with that dark. When I originally did the cover, I did the shadow was kind of subtle, and Ron emailed me. He goes, "No, it's got to be darker. You got to darken up the shadow." So I went, "Okay, I'll try it." And when I did it, the colors just popped.
It did. Yeah,
it really helped it pop.
It's a great looking book. I am very, very pleased with it and very proud of it. And on air, buddy, I'm gonna drop a surprise on you.
Uh-oh.
Joe liked it so much that he wants us to do another one for him. Okay? But you and I will talk later. I'm not going to let the entire cat out of the bag. Okay?
All right. This is folks, he just sprung this on me on the air. This is the first time I've heard this. So
right.
Yeah.
But here's what we are discussing. So I want people to understand and make it clear. Joe was just totally pleased, as are Rob and I, with how this team worked to do this particular book. And it's a different format for Joe's books. Isn't it a little larger, Rob?
Than
our regular.
It's not 6x9 like our books are. It's more like 7x10, I think, is what it looks like.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So again, Joe really appreciated the way it all came out. And what I wanted to say earlier, and I will say this right now, it isn't available yet through Diamond.
No.
But Joe's led me to believe that eventually it will be. For right now, the only place you can get it is, again, go to the Moonstone link on the show notes.
Moonstonebooks.com, I think it is.
Right.
Moonstonebooks.com.
Or moonstoneshop.com. But again, it'll be there. Yeah. You trust me, you will get it in the show notes. So again, in exchanging emails with Joe and thanking him and saying how much I liked how it came out, Joe said, "Well, would you and Rob like to do another one?" And by that I mean work on it the rest of this year over the winter, and hopefully maybe sometime next year have it ready. All right.
Okay.
And at which point I said, I think so. I said, we had fun doing this. It's nice to do things for other friends and other publishers as well as what we do for Airship 27. And at which point, Joe and I had been talking about a classic character, Rob, not from the pulps, but from the radio days in the 1930s.
Okay.
And he said, this would probably be the perfect venue for this character. And I sat back and said, yeah, because I've been wanting to get my hands on this character for years, Rob. So just teasing our listeners.
Is this a licensed character, or is he public domain?
No, he's public domain now. He's 100% public domain. He's never been a pulp character, so this will be his first ever prose pulp adventure. And when we announce it, I know a lot of our friends and people who understand cultural history will get it. Well, but anyways,
I guess you know what Ron and I'll be talking about after we stop recording the show.
After the show is done, behind the scenes, for sure. But I will tell you this: there will be 2 co-stars instead of a team up between 2 people. The character that I'm talking about, who will be the protagonist in this new project of ours, will be joining forces with the Domino Lady and Dan Fowler, G-Man.
Ah.
Okay. All right. So
all right.
That's the teaser I'm getting out there. But in the meantime, loyal airmen, please go and check out Faces of Fear. Rob and I had a ball putting this together. And as he said, Joe Gentile, the folks at Moonstone, did a beautiful job on this package. I swear to God, you'll love the story. Rob's interiors will blow you away. And this is such a good-looking book. It'll look really fancy up there on your bookshelves.
And I will be bringing along my comp copies to Pulp Fest to sell.
Okay.
I'm going to bring mine along. All right. You probably will not be able to bring yours because I know you travel really light. You probably will not be. You might bring a couple along or something like that, but I'm going to bring along my copies and see if we can sell a few.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, there you go.
People can come and check them out at Pulp Fest. I'll have them on the table, and they can take a look at them. I want people to see this book.
I do too.
That's why we do these kinds of things. That's why we're creative people. We want people to see what we've done.
Amen.
Show and tell.
Yeah, that's the payoff for what we do all the time.
Oh yeah.
Okay, and now,
here we go.
We interrupted the normal show. We're going back to what's become a regular feature on the show, which is the Brother Bones movie updates, as sent to us by writer, director, and co-producer of the Brother Bones movie project, Eric Franklin. So here we go. I'm looking at this. I will take the first one of his 3 news tidbits, Rob. Okay.
Yep. And then I'll take the second one. Okay.
All right. Number 1. Look for more videos to be posted on our Kickstarter page. The next one showcasing actor David Stoker as Tommy Bonello, and a final teaser shot of Brother Bones coming to life. Having worked on the project for so long, it was surreal to see this actor donning the mask, and then the epic final reveal of Brother Bones striding across the stage. Let me tell you, it was a little intimidating to direct him. Now, I have to tell people, Eric sent me that last week, and today, as of this afternoon, that video clip he's talking about is now up all over Facebook. So, by all means, check out the Airship 27 page, check out my page. Most likely Rob will put it up as well.
Yeah, I usually share them if I can. Yeah.
Right. He posted, and I know Rob had seen it, he took a still. They took the still from that last scene he's talking about where David Stoker, the actor, finds the skull mask, as everybody knows, and puts it on for the first time. And in the shot, they clipped a image, and they released that last week. And I've since put it up on my Facebook page as my icon page, and we plastered it everywhere. And it's what you and I had talked about before, Rob, that I knew could happen with this particular actor, and that's he can act with his eyes. Mm. And when you see the mask on him, and I know your reaction to seeing that still was very much like my own. Holy hell, this is scary.
Yeah.
You know, it is frightening. And it's amazing because once we put the picture up, I was getting a lot of feedback from so many of my colleagues online, and a few of them brought up this point, Rob, which was, boy, you must have breathed a sigh of relief, because too many times when they take characters from comic books or pulps or prose novels, Rob, what will you, and translate them to film, somehow or other they don't work. You know, the translation isn't what you imagine. Whereas, you know, and trust me, even without speaking about it, way in the back of my mind, I always wondered, you know, when he puts on the skull mask, is he going to be frightening or is he going to look silly? And trust me, he does not look silly. This is not a being you want to meet in a dark alley some night.
Yeah, the guy that sculpted this mask did a really good job. It's kind of scary just by itself, but once you see some eyes behind it, it's eerie. It's eerie scary. So and the guy's a good actor. So this is going to be it's going to be fun. I think so.
All right. Okay. Take
number two. We have completed a read through with the cast, and the level of excitement in the room was incredible. Although it started off on a humorous note, with a fire alarm causing the building to be evacuated, and several of the poor actors to be trapped in an elevator. Oh. I didn't hear about the elevator part. We all came together and breathed life into the script. As a director, this is the largest cast I have worked with, and seeing them come together as a whole just reinforces to me how truly wonderful this film will be. And so folks, if you like this as much as Eric does and Ron does and I do, go over to the Kickstarter and kick some money in for this thing, because it's going to take a bunch of money, and we need everyone that's even got a small inkling of how great this is going to be, how much fun this will be. Give us a few bucks to actually make this movie. So head over to the Kickstarter. Again, we'll have Brant put a link in the show notes for that. But we're going to need some help getting this thing done. So go over there and do it. Go over there and help us out. All right.
I'm amazed by the level of talent that Eric and Daniel assembled for this, and I've gotten to know a lot of these people now personally and connected with them on Facebook. This is a really, really dedicated cast. Their enthusiasm for the project is boundless. They're out there promoting this, Rob. They're trying to get their friends, relatives, and everybody else to donate. And they want to make this movie in the worst way. Then just so people know, aside from the video that you're going to see now, the newest video, they did film parts of the read-through, Rob. And there will be other videos coming showing the actors reading from the script.
Okay.
And again, you could tell there were certain scenes where two actors, work together in the scene. I'm going to give you an example. The actor playing Lieutenant Dan Raines ended up actually sitting at the table. There were 3 tables set up like a triangle.
Yeah.
And he ended up sitting next to the young lady playing the reporter, Sally Page. So there is an actual scene in the film where he's just come out of the bordello and the crime scene, and the last thing he wants to see is, of course, this Spitfire reporter who's always bugging the hell out of him, right? And that's the scene. Rob, hopefully that'll be one of the clips that Eric and Daniel put up on a video to show people. But the two of them were so good together. You could tell the banter the little annoyance, and oh God, it's Paige, my favorite crime reporter, to which she fires back immediately. Oh, Lieutenant Raines, my favorite homicide detective, and away we go, right? So, and of course, who stole the show, Rob? Andrew Trepolini reading Dr. Bergosi.
Really?
Yeah. Eric said you could tell he was having the time of his life. He handed up to the max.
Well, yeah, right? What you need to do with that character, yeah.
Right. He's the mad scientist of Cape Noir. The rest of the crew, the assembled actors, all gave him a little hand when he finished his part, all right? So I'm excited. I'm more than excited. Okay. And so the last piece from Eric is, if you are interested in reading more interviews about the project, then you can find that we were featured on a number of websites, such as Bleeding Cool News, Decay Mag, Horror Society, Dread Central, and on such podcasts as Art Sippo's Reviews, White Rocket, and Eric himself, Rob, is going to be on Zone 4 this coming week.
Cool.
Yeah. So, hey, it's not for a lack of, trying and promoting. And, and one of the things we try to tell people about the whole Kickstarter thing and promoting, whatever you can donate, and I mean this sincerely, if you send us $5, we will be eternally grateful. I mean that sincerely, all right? Every dollar helps. The more people who donate, then we don't worry about the amount. The more people make it possible. So one of the other things that's just as crucial to us here is that you're not only aware of this film and how we're trying to fund it, but help us spread the word.
Yeah.
If you've been following us on this podcast or the other shows that I've done with Eric or on Facebook or whatever, and even if it's you can't donate yourself, all right, you really can still help us. You can help us by sharing that Kickstarter link with all your friends online. It's like one ripple kicking off another ripple, kicking off another ripple. Just spread the word, people. Help us spread the word. Believe me, all right? And you said, last episode, Rob, this is why social media, was made. This is where it works to the utmost of its potential. So, help us get the word out. Please help this movie get born. There you go.
Well, yeah, right. We hope. Yep.
Yes, we do. Fingers crossed, and I'm an optimist at heart. I always have been. So there you go.
Okay.
And hey, we've come to the end of the hour, buddy.
Yeah, it's pretty close.
So pretty as ever, is there any last minute items that we didn't cover that you'd like to bring out?
Well, I didn't have much time to make any notes or anything, but I think you covered pretty much everything, especially all those things that are in the queue further down for us to begin working on. Like I said, when I saw that coming, your
coming attractions.
Yeah, your coming attractions that you sent out. I went, oh my gosh! All this stuff back is kind of, some of them are backlogged. Like Rick Ruby was backlogged for what? It was 3 years.
3 years.
Almost 3 years, and then some of the others that are just kind of waiting for one story or one illustration to come in, and we can go like a month and nothing comes in, and then suddenly we've got 2 or 3 books coming in all at once. It's just that's just the nature of the way we're doing things here. But I try to keep up with it, and like I said, I'm hoping my little filing system will help me keep a little bit better track of that. But yeah.
All right, so there you go. Thanks for listening again, as ever. Lately, we found this out in Chicago. Rob and I were both tickled pink, believe me, that all the people in Chicago who came up to our table and actually said, "Oh, hey, we're listening to your podcast on a regular basis." Well, Thank you. We
Absolutely.
really, we're doing this for you. All right, we want you to know what's up with Airship 27. We hope you can come. And this time, hey, all you guys on that East Coast around Pittsburgh, all right? Again, the 27th to the 29th of this month. Come on down. Come up to the table. Shake hands with me and Rob, and we'll talk pulps, and we'll have a good time.
Yep, absolutely. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, amen. Okay, Rob, I'll let you sign off, and then I'll wrap it all up.
This is your chief engineer from Airship 27, Rob Davis, signing off. And
as ever, Captain Ron says, down ship. Hello out there, this is Captain Ron Fortier from Airship 27, inviting you and welcoming you to episode 29 of the Airship 27 podcast.
You got it. You want to try again? You want to try again? Okay.
Yeah, let's do it again. You know what? I said 27, and then I'm looking at the agenda, and I'm seeing 29, and the two numbers totally screwed me up in my brains. Okay, so right. Brant, you now have another outtake.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's not mine.
This has been a Gonzo Goose production.